Hi, my name is Sherry, and a couple weeks ago I did a video on some rapture dreams I had, and I mentioned that I have an 11-year-old son that has heard the angel choir singing. He's heard the trumpet a couple times, and then God gave him quite a detailed dream about heaven that I wanted to share with you just to encourage you. I want to first say that I've gotten a lot of backlash on my dreams, and I have never said that I know the date or the hour that Christ is coming to get us. The Bible says that only the Father knows, not even the Son or the angels. So we don't know when he's coming back to get us, but we can look at things around us and see that it's going to be soon. So I just wanted to make that clear that I'm not preaching a gospel of knowing when he's coming back. And I also want to say that the only way to heaven is to accept Jesus Christ as your Savior and to believe that he died on the cross and rose again, and he did that for you and for me so that we wouldn't have to experience hell and the things that we deserve for our sins. So it was only by his grace and mercy that we go to heaven. Having said that, I want to give you a little background about my son. He's 11 years old. Both my boys are adopted. Caleb, my 11-year-old that had this dream, came to us 2 days old, born addicted to crack cocaine, meth. I mean, he had quite a hard first year with the withdrawals and the things that he went through with that. He is African American, and we just love him to death. He is definitely part of us. But I say that because you'll understand in his dream how that applies to me telling you this. So let me get started. He's had a couple of times that he's heard the trumpet sound. One morning, my husband and I, Saturday morning, we're drinking our coffee, and he come down bright-eyed and saying, "Did y'all hear that? Did you hear that?" And we said, "Did we hear what?" He said, "The trumpet. I heard the trumpet." And we said, "No, we didn't hear that." He said, "How could you not have heard it? It was so loud." And as soon as the trumpet played, he said, he called it a chorus. "I heard a chorus." And we said, "What do you mean you heard a chorus?" And he said, "Well, it sounded like a bunch of people." "Well, actually, Mom, it sounded like angels, how they would sound if they sang." And he tried to sing a little bit of a chorus that he heard them sing. So we said, "You know, Caleb, we didn't hear that, but God allowed you to hear that for a reason, and how exciting it is that God chose you to hear those things." There was another time he was in our family room playing his games, and I was in the laundry room, which is close to the family room. And he yelled, "Mom, did you hear that?" I said, "Did I hear what, buddy?" He said, "The trumpet. I heard the trumpet. You didn't hear that?" I said, "No, buddy, I didn't hear that." I said, "Again, God is allowing you to hear these things. You are very blessed." Then we were at my oldest son's house watching my grandbabies when he was sitting there playing a game on his Switch. And he looked at me and he said, "Did you hear that?" I said, "Did I hear what?" "Mom, how could you not hear that? That was the trumpet." And my husband said, "Caleb, are you sure that wasn't a train or a car going down the road?" He said, "Dad, I know the difference. I know what a train sounds like, and I know what a car sounds like. That was a trumpet." So he's had those experiences. But before Christmas, he had been a little congested, and we were giving him medicine. And again, morning time came, and he come running down the stairs. My husband and I are already awake, and just excited and glowing and saying, "I just saw heaven." And we said, "What?" He said, "Yeah, I saw heaven." So we had him sit down and tell us what he experienced. And he said that he had a dream that he stopped breathing and went to heaven. And he says that when he arrived at heaven, he arrived with a bunch of other people that had died as well. And he was outside the gates. He was just flabbergasted at how huge the gates were. He said, "You've never seen gates this big, Mom. They're bigger than the tallest building." And he said when they arrived at the gates opened. And I said, "Well, what was everybody doing?" And he said, "Well, they were walking in, but I was so excited, I ran in." And you need to know my Caleb. He is very hyperactive. So it's not a surprise to me that he went running into heaven. I said, "You went running into heaven?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "What did you see when you first ran into heaven?" He said, "Mom, The streets are actually made of gold, but not like the gold here. It's a really awesome gold that you can almost see through. He said, I actually got to walk on them. I said, yeah, what else did you see? He said, the city. Mom, the city in heaven, it is so bright, it's almost hard to see when you first get there. And he said that if you took all of the large cities around the world, and he named several of them, Tokyo, and he just named London and big cities around the United States. He said, if you put them all together, he said, heaven is even bigger than that. I said, really? What did you see in heaven? He said, I saw people walking around. I saw angels. And we said, well, what were the people wearing? They were wearing white robes, Mom. I said, and you saw angels? He said, there are lots of angels in heaven, Mom. And he said that there were some angels in the sky, and there was angels on the ground. And he said the ones in the sky were singing and praising Jesus. I said, what were the ones on the ground doing? And he said, well, they were working. So he didn't know what they were doing when we asked him. He just said they seemed busy and they were working. We asked him what the people were doing that he saw. Sorry, I'm on the table and it's kind of shaking. There we go. He said that they were walking around, going in and out of buildings. Some people were sitting on benches talking. And so he said, Mom, guess what? In heaven, you can go as fast as you want. I said, what do you mean? He said, I could run as fast as Sonic the Hedgehog. I said, you're kidding. He said, no, I could go as fast as I wanted. And he said, and I could go from building to building as fast as I wanted, kind of like Spider-Man. I said, really? What were you doing going from building to building? He said, I wanted to explore. I wanted to see what's in heaven. Then he said he was walking and he turned around and he bumped into this kid. And this kid said, hi, Caleb, I'm your brother. Now, when he first told me that, my husband and I have lost 2 children. So I kind of wondered if, I was getting excited thinking he saw one of the babies we lost. But before I could ask him that, he said, I got what I've always wanted, Mom. And I said, what did you get? He said, a brother that has the same skin color as me. I said, really? He said, yeah. I said, well, what did you say to him? He said, hi, Caleb, I'm your brother. And he said, I told him, no, you're not. And he said, yeah, I'm your brother. And Caleb says, if you are my brother, then you tell me how old I am. And his brother said 11 years old. And Caleb said, okay, so what's my favorite food? And the little boy said, pizza, which if you knew my Caleb, he would eat pizza, breakfast, lunch, and dinner if I let him. And Caleb said, well, okay, well, what's my favorite game? He said, Sonic the Hedgehog. Caleb said, well, I guess you are my brother. So Caleb asked him his name, and he said that he had died in his mommy's tummy, and that he did not have a chance for his mom to name him, and that God had named him Leo. So I asked him, I said, well, Caleb, how about how tall was he? And he said, well, he was about to right here to me, Mom. I said, so he's younger than you? He said, yeah. So I said, well, did you do some things with your brother? He said, well, no, I kind of wanted to, but then I told him, excuse me, listen, Leo, I would like to go explore heaven. And he said, Leo said, go right ahead. And so he ran and was exploring heaven. So I thought that was quite amazing that he met his brother in heaven. But I said, so what'd you do from there? He said, well, I kept exploring heaven. He said, Mom, guess what? Heaven has the biggest playgrounds you have ever seen. I said, did you play on them? He said, no, I didn't take the time to do that, but I was watching as kids were playing. Mom, there are lots of kids in heaven. I said, yeah? He said, yeah, and there was this part of the playground, he said, that was like the ninja games where they had all these things that you can run and jump on and try to do things. He said they had those there. I said, that's amazing, Caleb. And you didn't want to do that? He said, no, I did, but I didn't know how long I was going to be in heaven for, so I wanted to see what else was in heaven. He talked about how he saw grass, and how he was walking on the grass. He said, Mom, the color of grass in heaven is not like the color here. He said, it's a bright color like you've never seen. He said, and when you walk on it and you lift up his foot, guess what? The grass doesn't stay down, it raises back up. I said, really? He said, yeah. He said, then I asked the angel, and I guess he was with an angel, if he could taste the grass. I said, why did you want to taste the grass? He said, I just wanted to taste what heaven's grass tasted like. I said, what did it taste like? He said, mint. I said, really? He says that there was a field and there was a lion in it, and that he and the lion played together. He said that he saw chariots. There were golden chariots. He said some were in the sky, some were on the ground. And I said, what were the chariots doing? He said, well, there was an angel that was driving the chariot and people were in it. He said, now the chariots in the sky, Mom, they were going super fast. But the ones on the ground weren't going that fast. I said, okay. So let me look here at my notes. I wrote down as he was telling me things. I don't put my child on the internet, not till he's older and a little more safer for him to do that. So that's why I'm not recording him doing this, but I did write down what he told me, and I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. He said that he was walking around heaven, and he turned around, and there was Jesus. And I said, you got to see Jesus? He said, yeah. I said, Caleb, how did you know it was Jesus? He said, Mom, everybody in heaven knows it's Jesus when you see him. And I said, did you talk to Jesus? And he said, I did, Mom. He said, I turned around and Jesus smiled and said, well, hello, Caleb. And Caleb, I said, what did you say to him? He said, well, Mom, I was kind of scared. I didn't know what to say because I'm standing in front of the greatest man that ever lived. I said, yeah, you were. I said, what did you say to him? He said, I thanked him for letting me into heaven. And he said, you're welcome. And then God told him, Caleb, I know that you've not done everything right, but that's okay. You go back and you try to do a better job at things. And Caleb said he would. Then he said that God told him that your memories are very important and that you need to take care of your memories. Then Caleb said, beside Jesus, a door appeared. And Jesus opened the door and said, Caleb, I would like for you to go through this door. And when you go through this door, I want you to remember that your memories are important. And Caleb said he went through the door. And at first I said, what did you see when you went through the door? He said, well, Mom, I was a little confused at first because I saw that I was like in this cocoon thing. And as he described a little bit more, it was his mom's womb he saw himself in. He saw himself as a baby. When he was 1 year old, we took a family vacation to New York City. And he says he saw our family walking down the streets of New York. He said, Mom, I saw you and Aaron and Dad, and you were pushing me in a blue stroller, which I was. He was only 1 year old now. I said, yeah? I said, what else did you see? He says, well, you went a lot of places in New York. He said, one building that you went in was this great big tall tower. And Dad and Aaron got to go into this place where your favorite shows are recorded, but they wouldn't let you go in because you had me and they didn't allow babies in there, which is exactly what happened. Caleb did not know this. Again, he was 1. I said, yeah. So Dad and Aaron went in there. He said, yeah. He said, and you and I went to the bottom of the tower where there was shops, and you pushed me around in the stroller, was on your phone, and you did some shopping, which is exactly what happened. He said, then when Dad and Aaron came out, they knew you would be sad that you didn't get to go in there, so they bought you a blue t-shirt from your favorite show. That's exactly what happened. I said, yeah, Caleb, and I went and got the t-shirt and showed it to him. I said, this is the t-shirt, Dad, and he said, yep, that's the one. He talked about things he saw throughout his lifetime. It sounded almost like a life review. That he saw a bedroom of his when he was little. He said, did you know I had a SpongeBob SquarePants room? I said, yeah, I did. He said, I went into this house that we lived in, and he said, I saw my brother laying in bed. I saw me laying in bed. I saw you and Dad laying in bed. He said everybody was sleeping. He said, so I went into the family room and I was looking at all the games I used to play. Really, I mean, the things he told us was amazing. He saw himself at his old school when he was 4. He said that he had to put a uniform on so he looked like he fit in, but he was looking for himself. And he said he found himself when he went up and said, hello, Caleb. And little Caleb said, hello, who are you? And he said, well, my name is Caleb too. And I said, well, why did you want to see yourself? He said, well, I wanted to tell him that someday he was going to have a sister and a niece and a nephew. He said, so I told him, hey, Caleb, when you get a little bit older, you're going to have a sister and you're going to have a niece and a nephew. And your sister's name is going to be Emily, and your niece's name is going to be Brooklyn, and your nephew's name is going to be Joshua. He said, but Mom, he got called back in the classroom, and he said, I didn't get it to him. Well, it wasn't going to be his real sister. It's going to be his sister-in-law. I said, well, I'm sure that's okay. It was just amazing. He said then after a while, he decided he wanted to come back through the door. So he went back through the door. I said, was Jesus there when you come back through the door? He said, no, Jesus was no longer there. And that he kept exploring. He said there was pizza and candy in heaven, all that he ever wanted. He saw all these different kinds of flowers. He was telling me the types of flowers, which I'm not a gardener by any means. So I've never told him really names of some of these flowers that he knew. And I asked him how he knew the names of these flowers. He said, Mom, in heaven, you just know these things. He said he saw rivers, and he saw trees, and he saw ponds with fish in it. Let me look at my notes here. I want to make sure I'm not missing it. Oh, he saw mansions. He said the mansions that he saw, some of them were of different colors, and he actually got to go into one. And I said, what did you see when you went in the mansion? He said, well, this mansion, Mom, it was so huge. And guess what, Mom? It had an elevator in it. I said, really? Yeah. So he saw so much in heaven, but he said that after exploring and doing some things in heaven, that he saw Jesus again, and Jesus came and gave him a hug. He said, Mom, Jesus' hugs are the best. And guess what, Mom? I said, what? He said, you can actually see the holes in his hands. He said, Mom, the hole goes right through his hand. I said, really, Caleb? I've never told my child this. He said, yes, Mom. He said, it was so sad to see that hole in Jesus' hand. But boy, his hugs are the best. And Jesus told me, Caleb, I love you. And I want you to go back now. And you need to know that I'm coming to get everyone real soon. I said, what happened then? He said, then I woke up in bed and I sat straight up and I knew I needed to come tell you and Dad right away what I saw. So that was my son's experience in heaven. I don't know if he actually had an experience of dying for a little bit. And this is what concerned my husband and I, because like I told you, he was a little congested. And as he was telling us this experience of heaven, his throat sounded a little raspy. And so we've made sure that he's had his inhaler every night before he goes to bed, because I don't know if it was a dream or if he actually died for a little bit and went to heaven. I don't know. But it was a very real experience for Caleb, and it has made this child so excited about the Lord's coming. And, you know, when Biden became president, Caleb said, well, that's okay, Mom, because guess what? That means we're going to heaven. I said, why does that mean we're going to heaven? He said, because the world's going to get bad and it's just going to get worse, Mom. The tribulation's coming and we know we're going to heaven real soon. And it's just like Jesus said, he's coming to get us soon. So that is my Caleb's experience I'm sharing with you. There was a few more things in the dream that I felt were too personal between him and Jesus that I didn't want to share publicly. But I hope that's an encouragement to you. Take it for what it is. I don't know. I'm just telling you what my child told me. And let me tell you, he still talks about his experience in heaven. So it has really changed his life and made him so excited right now to go to heaven and experience all that again. He keeps saying, wait till you see this, Mom. And he tells me about it. So anyways, I hope this encourage you, brothers and sisters. I think we're going to heaven very soon. I'm excited, and I look forward to seeing you there and meeting you up in the sky. Take care. Bye.